Today, we are going to be ruthless. Ruthless with our WIPS. Hi friends, welcome to the Cozy Cottage Crochet podcast channel. My name is Hannah and this is a channel all about crochet, a little bit of knitting, sometimes sewing, and generally living the yarniest life possible in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I live. Today, we are going to be ruthless. Ruthless with our WIPS. If you could see the giant pile of project bags and other such nonsense that I have on the floor next to me, you would possibly pass out. I have collected a large amount of WIPS. I have a giant bin that I put them in, and some of these have not seen the light of day in like a year, 2 years. We are going to be ruthless today. Today, we are doing finish or frog. Trust me, there will be some frogging. The criteria for this is I have pulled literally everything out of my WIP box, and if I have not shown it on the podcast channel in the last 2 months, it's going in this pile, which means it has not been touched or worked on in quite a while. I have not included 5 works in progress that have been touched in the last 2 months. Those are the Boxy Raglan Cardigan by Hohi Locatelli, the Artist Cardigan, that's a crochet cardigan, by Nordana Crafts, 2 pairs of socks, and something else. Oh, my crochet memories blanket, which is a crochet pattern by me. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We're at WIP count 5 already, and we haven't even started. I am recording this on Wednesday, February 5th. It is not going to go live for like a week and a half. I have never recorded a video so far in advance, but I am getting elbow surgery tomorrow, and I really need 2 hands to be able to share these WIPs with you. So we're going to do our best. The baby is finally asleep after much wailing, gnashing of teeth. He was a nightmare this morning, but he's asleep. I hope that he stays that way for like long enough to get through these WIPs. If you're looking for me anywhere on the interweb, you can find me as The Cozy Cottage Crochet. On Instagram, you can email me at thecozycottagecrochet@gmail.com. That's all the admin. Shall we just get started? If you have been here for a long time, some of these, you may not even remember them. That's how long ago it has been since I've touched these WIPs. Grab your beverage. I'm having a Coke. Not sponsored, and I don't even particularly like Coke that much. It's just been a heck of a day. And I have been burning the candle at both ends for like 3 weeks straight, trying to get ready for this elbow surgery. I'm not ready, but oh well. Okay, I'm grabbing these in no particular order. That's not true. There's a particular order. I'm going to first do the ones that I have talked about or touched semi-recently, and then we're going to go into the deep, dark recesses. So, first up, living in this watermelon project bag. This is a bag I sewed myself. This is a pattern that I am not going to frog. It is the Heart Hook Home tank top. Yes, it looks like this. You can't really see. I had some questions about what size I needed to make for this pattern. I really couldn't decide what size I needed to make, and what I need to do is block the swatch. And for some reason that was insurmountable, so I haven't done it. But I am going to do it. This is the swatch. It is just a delightful texture. I love it. And I am using wool-like yarn, which is a discontinued yarn from Michael's Loops and Threads brand in the colorway Rose. This is what it looks like. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I have 2 skeins of this, which should be, I really don't even know if I'm gonna use more than 1 because it's a tank top, but I have 2 just in case. It also depends on what size I'm going to make. This will not be frogged, but I will probably not be able to work on it for quite a while because I'm getting elbow surgery. That is a theme in some of these projects is I'm getting elbow surgery, therefore I haven't worked on it. This one is not that reason. I just have not managed to block the swatch and do the math that I need to figure out what size. There's no schematic in this pattern, and that irritates me beyond all reason. Did I even say what the pattern was called? Heart Hook Home. Oh, the Everyday Tank. The Everyday Tank by Heart Hook Home. It's literally just kind of a V-neck tank top in crochet. I think the pattern is beautiful. I am willing to do the math to make it work for me. It just irritates me on a molecular level that there's no schematic. If you're making a garment pattern and you don't bother to put a schematic in your pattern, it gives me anxiety and anger in my soul. So that one, not frogged. So I'm gonna put that over in the Not Frog section of my piece of construction paper that I stole from my daughter. Number 2, you haven't seen this one in a while either. This bag is just a delight. It's made by Kalisha, my dear, dear friend. And in this is a pattern that I am not going to frog either. It just has not had any work on it because of my elbow specifically. This is a Hooks and Needles pattern from the Hooks and Needles subscription box, the last one that I got. The yarn is called Merino Wildflower. It's 75% merino, 30% nylon. And I 150 grams of this. And the pattern is just for a little kind of bucket bag. And I got a good portion of the way in. This is what the bottom looks like. I love that texture. And then this is what the sides of the bag look like. It's got kind of spiraling stitches, and I've never done anything like that before. I wanted to try that stitch out, and I just thought it was beautiful, especially in this yarn. The reason I stopped working on this is because the alternating front post and back post double crochet stitches were killing my elbow. Like, I could do maybe one round of this at a time, and then my elbow would hurt for an hour. So I put it down because it was just causing me so much pain because of the motion I was having to do. I definitely will be finishing this though, because I love it. I love the yarn, I love the bag. I don't know when I'm going to get back to this. I have 6 weeks of absolutely no knitting or crochet per my doctor, and then I will be able to do very small amounts after that. It needs quite a lot of height. It needs to get like up to here probably before I can do the drawstring. So I don't know when this is going to happen, but I'm not frogging this because I think it's beautiful and I want the finished object. I just can't, I haven't been able to work on it because of my elbow. Otherwise, I think this would probably already be done. So that is 2 projects in the not frog pile. Next. This one absolutely also will not be frogged. I just haven't been working on it because I have been working on another Hohi Locatelli pattern, which is the Boxy Raglan cardigan made out of bulky weight yarn. That one is almost finished. I have like a couple more rows of the button band. I was really hoping to get that done before surgery tomorrow. I don't know if it's possible tonight, honestly. Would love it if it were, but this project in this bag took a back seat to that, but it will not be frogged. This project has been years in the making. It's in this giant bag that was given to me by my dear friend Amanda. And this bag is special for a couple of reasons. One, not just because it came from Amanda, but I used this as my pump bag when Noah was tiny, the baby who refused to sleep earlier and is now napping. I needed to pump when I wasn't with him because I was nursing him for about 10 months. And this is the bag I kept my pump in. And now it's housing a very special project. So every time I pull this out, I get good feelings. What is living in here is the V-neck boxy. This is a pattern by Hohi Locatelli. It is made in the most magical yarn of all time. I just haven't worked on it in a while. I am in the Miles and Miles of Stockinette portion. This yarn is Fiber Optics yarn in the colorway Peacocks. I think it looks like an oil slick. It's absolutely magical. I love this so much. The last time I showed this was several months ago, and I was right here. So I've really done almost nothing since then. This yarn I got at Rhinebeck in 2022, and it is now 2025. So I kept that yarn. I got that yarn specifically for this pattern. It then took me quite a while to finish what I was working on and get this started. This is just the most, like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to wear this. This will probably be, once I'm allowed to knit again, one of the things that I work on the most because it is just stockinette in the round. So I feel like that will be very easy on my elbow and also very easy to pick up and put down. So this is a magical pattern. The yarn is just incredible. And it is a fancy, fancy yarn. It's not just merino nylon. It is 80% merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. And I just, every time I pull this out, I think it is magical. And I honestly spend more time looking at it than I do knitting on it. So that will absolutely not be getting frogged. I'm inspired to work on it just by pulling that out. So another tick mark in the not frogging category. Okay, what's next? Yet another one that will not be frogged. I know I promised you some frogging. Don't worry, it's coming, okay? It's coming, y'all. I was kind of gung-ho about it, And then upon getting into it, I realized that the pattern is not necessarily tedious, but it takes a lot of concentration and a lot of time to make it work. And I'm trying to find a picture. It is the Cirrus shawl, which is a pattern by Zines and Roger. It's Rosina of Zines and Roger. It is a beautiful, beautiful shawl. And she makes hers in a DK weight boucle yarn and a lace weight mohair yarn. I am making it in a fingering weight purple yarn and a lace weight mohair. This is how much I have. It's just amazing. So the last time I showed this on the podcast was, again, several months ago, and this is where I was. So I've done almost an entire stripe of the lace. I probably have 2 or 3 more rows of lace to do before you do one of these solid stripes. The solid stripes are where you do the bulk of the increasing for the shawl. And so this is what it looks like right now. It is going to continue that shape and the rows are going to be impossibly long. Like one row already takes a long time because it's lace weight, and the boucle stitch, you are alternating front and back loops. So you work a stitch into the front loop one time, you work a stitch into the back loop the next time. And so this is just a really it's very relaxing, it's very meditative, but this is not a fast project. And I kind of put this down in favor of finishing the Tunisian Westmont shawl, which I've shown on a few episodes recently. I cannot imagine even how beautiful this is going to be when it is blocked. It's just gorgeous in every facet. Like, oh my gosh, it's so pretty. The yarn that I am using for this was a gift from my lovely friend Emmy. This is Alive with Purpose. 72% mohair, 28% silk. So I have 2 of these. I will absolutely be using both of them for this shawl because, again, it's going to get much, much bigger. Ooh, I'm making a lot of bread today because I will not be able to make any bread or do anything with my arm starting tomorrow. So what was I saying? I was talking about the actual fingering weight yarn, which is this right here. It is called the Good Shepherd sock yarn in Good Shepherd's colors. And you get 80% merino, 20% nylon. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. These came out of my very special Skeins of Yarn stash. And I wanted to use them just in something that was really amazing, especially this mohair. Yeah, that was such a lovely gift. And I think that this project is worthy of this yarn. Gosh, just showing it on screen makes me be like, oh, it's so beautiful. So this project is going to be with me for quite a long time, but I am excited to keep working on it because it's just gorgeous. This bag came from the Fat Squirrel. It's the only Fat Squirrel bag I own, but gosh, isn't it adorable? It's got little yarn ghosts. Okay, so that is yet another tick in the Do Not Frog category. The last project I'm going to show you that is definitely Do Not Frog, you have not seen in so long, and it is almost finished. When I show it to you, you're gonna be like, why have you not finished this? Nah, that's why. It's living in this llama bag. The llama bag was a gift from my friend Amanda, as was the yarn that is inside of this. And I am not really following the pattern anymore. So the mistake I made in this particular sweater is that I made a sweater that is not my style. I started making, it was on my Ravelry queue, my Ravelry wish list for a long time. And I finally, when I got this yarn, I was like, oh my gosh, I can fade this together. I can make the most beautiful sweater, but this is not my style. I don't want to wear this sweater, which is a problem, right? Let me see. Where is a picture of what the actual cardigan looks like? I have done this so long ago that I basically had to handwrite out everything related to the fade that I was building in. So this is called the Hekla cardigan. This is what it looks like. You can see that it's kind of A-line and it just has these buttons right here at the top. It doesn't meet down here. So there's 2 things that I don't like. One, A-line things don't really look good on me. So why was I gonna make this cardigan? I love A-line silhouettes on other people. I don't love them on me. Number two, like, I don't like my cardigans to do that. I want them to close. So I started at the top making this cardigan, and I basically did the yoke per the cardigan pattern, and I just couldn't deal with it. So I switched to doing my own thing. After I split for the sleeves, I basically just made a regular cardigan all the way down. I did my own thing for the sleeves. I like just kept going. What is this? Is this a whole different pattern that's shoved in here? Was I thinking of making this at some point? Oh yes, I was. This was the original pattern I was gonna make with this yarn. This is the Lao cardigan by Linda Suja. It is beautiful. I will be making this at some point, but I did not have enough yarn to make that cardigan. So that's why I went with the Hekla cardigan. In hindsight, I still couldn't have made the Lao cardigan because that's a bottom-up design. And so if you run out of yarn in a bottom-up design, you're in trouble. Because this yarn I can't get any more of. It is Asylum Fibers. And it is, it's not gonna show. It's not gonna show. It's a house coat fade, fingering weight fade, 75% merino, 20% nylon, 5% stellina. And each skein has 438 yards. The entire thing is done except for the button band. It's a little wrinkly because it's been trapped in a bag. Like, this will give you a really good idea of the fade. It's beautiful. I'm gonna put it on for you so you can see it. And then you'll see what I'm talking about. The reason it hasn't been finished. I am not frogging this because I think it's gorgeous, but it needs some work. So, the thing that I don't like about this cardigan, which is part of the Hekla cardigan, is how wide this neck is. This neck is too wide for me. Now you may say I could just add a button band, go around the collar and it'll pull in a little bit, and then I could just have a straight up and down cardigan like so. Yes, I could do that, but I don't want to. I really don't want to. What I want is actually a V-neck like this. So what I need to do to fix this is add some short rows in here on both sides to pull the neck in. Then I need to tack down on both sides, making sure it is accurate, the V-neck in exactly the way I want it. Then I need to pick up and do the button band that will be in this texture. And then I basically need to either steek and cut off this piece or just sew it down to the inside. So there's a lot to do. There's a lot more to do than I have had the brain power to do. You can see that at one point I was like, oh, I'll just add some stitch markers of things where I need to go. So this is the midpoint of this shoulder, like the amount of stitches between here and here. So I need to count this way, like how many short rows am I gonna do? I think I have enough yarn in this top color to do some short rows. Yes, I do. Not very many, but some. And I also have the swatch, so I can unravel that if I need to. So after I add the short rows, then I had kind of pre-measured where the V-neck needs to be. So it's gonna be like this, but I need to then go through and weave a thread through every single row right here and then make sure that it is exactly same on the other side so it will be symmetrical before I can start the button band. Once I start the button band, it will go fast because it's just front post, back post, double crochets, and it's in the final color of the fade. I have plenty of yarn for that. It'll be perfect. I just can't, like, I want to wear this because just putting it on, I just think it's beautiful. It's beautiful. That's the bottom. So you can see this is color number 1. This is color number 2. This is color number 3. This is color number 4, and color number 5 is the darkest. I love this sweater. I just wish that I had made a different pattern because then I would not be dealing with this nonsense about the neckline, the yoke in the neckline. However, if I don't fix that, despite how much annoyance and math and work that is going to be. If I don't fix that, I will never wear this. I know I won't wear this. I do not like a neckline that is like over here. No, I can't. I'll be yanking at it every time I wear it. So this one has not seen the light of day in a very long time. It is very beautiful. It smells very sheepy, and it is absolutely not getting frogged. Perhaps, even though I will not be allowed to knit or crochet for 6 weeks, perhaps I will at some point have the brain power to sit down and really do the math to figure out how many short rows I need to do to make this work. And then, I don't know, maybe it'll get done. I would love to finish this cardigan this year. And it's only the beginning of February, so I feel like that's a feasible goal, but I also feel like I said that last year and it didn't get done. So we are at 5 WIPs that I have shown you that will not be frogs. 10 WIPs total, because there's 5 that are not in this video. Now we're going to get into some other stuff, shall we? Everything down here is in no particular order. Let's just do it. Let's do it. Let's do the WIP walk of shame, okay? Number 1, it's gonna get frogged. It's gonna get frogged. It's living in a Halloween bag. I really want the bag back. Not just to be hanging out my WIP box for an eternity. This bag was sewed for me years, like 8 years ago when I started this channel by a lovely person named Barb. I adore this bag. I like the idea of this pattern. Hate the pattern. So let me find what it is. It is called The Last Ray. The pattern is by Lena Fetedova. It is a boxy sweater. It is very cute and I love how it looks. The problem is I hate making it. And I have thought about frogging this probably 3 or 4 times already. And every time I'm like, it's so beautiful. I need to just stick it out. Like I just need to give it a proper go. And then every time I sit down to pick it up, I hate working on it because it is tedious. And that's no fault of the I guess it is the fault of the pattern, but it's not like it's a bad pattern. It's a beautiful pattern. The issue is everything is worked in the back loop. And while that's not necessarily a problem, like there are no rest rows, you are constantly counting and working things in the back loop and changing how you do things. And it doesn't bring me any joy to work on this. Like, look at the texture of this. This is unblocked. Like when it's blocked, it's gonna be like that. It's amazing. And the yarn color is amazing. It's like my favorite color, hot pink. The yarn was a gift from my friend Emmy. It is merino, fingering, 100% superwash merino from Malabrigo. Of course it's merino. I was trying to say Malabrigo. It is the colorway fuchsia. That's the color. This is the yarn. Isn't that gorgeous? So I have 4 skeins of this, which is enough to make this sweater, but I just can't deal with this sweater. And I have been beating myself up about it. See, this is the first one I started. This is how much ease it was supposed to have. And I was like, dang, like I like ease, but that is crazy. So I did some math. I've already done math on this to like make it fit me. Like this would be a perfect size. I'm never gonna finish this. I know I'm never gonna finish this. I just cannot bring myself to work on it. And I feel like this yarn deserves something better. For me, it deserves something better for me. I think it would be amazing at this pattern, but I'm not gonna finish the pattern. So this one is going to the frog pond and I'm going to make it a goal for this year to find a new pattern for that yarn that I can actually do something with. Frog number 1. Let's see what else we've got. Another frog. Oh yes, this is definitely gonna get frogged. This is a tentative design that I was working on for a hat. I got a fair portion of the way through and it was a little too big and I will show you what it looks like. This is yarn that was a gift from a viewer of this channel named Robin. It is Freckled Whimsy, hand-dyed yarns, and the colorway is Serendipity. Actually, no, the colorway is Little Nova. The base is serendipity. The reason she sent me this yarn is because I have a daughter named Nova. And she was like, this yarn is for your daughter. And it is 75/25 merino nylon. It is a self-striping yarn. So it was a sock set, and it came with this beautiful yellow, and it came with this absolute gorgeousness. This is the project I was making. A hat with some beautiful texture that I absolutely love. And I worked out all of the math for the brim, and I worked out all of the math for this, but for some reason the gauge was not quite accurate. And so when I put this on, it's big, like it's too big. It should not be that big. And I did not want to rip it out. And so it's just been sitting there for a long time. I love this hat, but it's too big. And I honestly, I don't think that I would wear these colors right next to my face. I think it washes me out a little bit. I then tossed around the idea of making some leg warmers with these, maybe some fingerless gloves with these, and I still may do that. But I know for a fact that this hat is just, it's not working. Like, it's honestly so big, it could be a cowl easily, but I don't have enough yarn to do the top in the, like I would want it to be symmetrical. So yes, this will be going to the frog pond as well. It's living in a bag made by Kalisha of the Quirky Monday Craft Cast. This is the bag I bought from her, and I just think it's fabulous. Like, took my breath away. The pattern is so beautiful on that fabric. So, yes, I need to frog this, and I honestly kind of just want to make socks with it. I have this complex where I'm like, oh, if the yarn is like super special, then I shouldn't just make socks with it. But socks are the thing that I wear the most that I have made, because I wear hand knit socks every single night to sleep. It's my favorite thing to do. And so if I make this into socks, then it will get used. Whereas even if I finish that hat, it would probably get used a couple of times a year because I live in Florida, right? So I'm definitely going to frog that. I've been thinking about frogging it for quite some time. It just hasn't happened. Let's see. This is not even in a project bag. And in fact, it was just in my WIP box because I haven't decided what to do with it. Ooh. It wouldn't be a video on my channel if I didn't drop yarn on the floor immediately. This is a DK weight Halloween advent calendar that I got last year, and I have not quite settled on a pattern for this. That's why it's not out of the box. And then of course my elbow has all these problems, so it just didn't work. But you got like 10 mini skeins or 11 mini skeins followed by one big skein, and it is from Tippy Tree Yarns. It is their Bob's Burger color set. I thought about knitting the Shift Cowl by I think Andrea Mowry. Is it Andrea Mowry that makes the Shift Cowl? It's a colorwork knit cowl, which I've never done colorwork before. Someday it is my life goal to learn how to knit colorwork. And it's not like I'm not doing it because it's hard. I just haven't had the bandwidth to do it. And someday I want to make knit colorwork Christmas stockings for my kids. Someday. When will this happen? I have no idea. I went down the Ravelry rabbit hole of trying to find a crochet pattern for this as well that was similar. And I didn't ever end up settling on anything, but it's beautiful and it will definitely be something at some point. I want to use it as a set. I don't want to split it up and use it in different things. So yeah, I don't know if that counts as a project because it's nothing. It's nothing so far. I'm not going to put it on the project count number. Next, what is in here? I don't even know. This bag came from Ella of No Catchy Name years ago. It's a Santa bag, and I love the Santas. Oh, there's nothing in here either. This is a project that never got started. So this yarn is L by Me, which is a yarn from Premier Yarns. It is, what is it? It's a 5-weight, bulky, 60% acrylic, 40% wool. And I had grand plans to make a hat out of this using yarn over slip stitches because it will look like a knit hat, but it will be crocheted. And in fact, I'm still going to do that. I'm going to count this as a project and put it on the list, even though it's not into anything, because I had a solid plan for this and I still have a solid plan. I just haven't had a lot of time, and my elbow has been, of course, acting up. I'm an affiliate for Premier Yarn, so if you click on my link below and you buy any yarn from Premier, it will give me like a couple cents in a couple of months. So just for full transparency's sake, if you click on the affiliate link, it does support this channel a little bit. I definitely want to make a hat out of this. This color in particular, I think would be amazing to make a hat out of, especially for me. Like this kind of washes me out. This, perfection. So yeah, that's not going to get frogged, and by frogged, I mean there's nothing to frog, but it would just go back into my yarn stash, which I don't want to happen. Okay, let's see. What is this? Oh, I didn't even know what was in this bag. Okay, this is going to be frog too, and I'm sad about it. This is a pattern by my lovely friend, Elizabeth, who is of the Crochet Cakes podcast, and it is the Fala Larry top. And the reason this is going to be frogged is because I picked the wrong size and I'm making it with incorrect yarn. Like the gauge is just not working. I had just started this before I got pregnant with Noah, so this has been over 2 years now, and this is what it looks like. That's Elizabeth. She's delightful. It's the Fala Larry top. It is just gorgeous. I especially love this right here. Like that is so pretty. So essentially this is a bottom-up design. You make 2 panels, you sew them together. I still want to make this in the future. I just need to either adjust my gauge or use a different yarn entirely. I'm thinking about making this in a cotton silk blend that I have. I think it would be beautiful. I have some olive green cotton silk yarn, and the color that I chose to do this in is gorgeous. Like, this is amazing color on me and in general. It is a yarn that's like mill ends yarn. I'm pretty sure it's 100% acrylic. I worked an entire 50-gram skein in this, but it's just, it's not the right yarn for this. So this is like, it's like mill ends designer yarn. You get 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's 500 grams. It doesn't have any, what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't have any fiber content information, but it's definitely acrylic. Like, there's no wool in that. It just smells like plastic. So what I'm going to show you is, it's beautiful, right? But like, it's too dense. And even when I stretch it, it doesn't have that much give. And especially being in Florida, like, this would basically be a sweater if I wore it, but it's short sleeved and it's supposed to be lacy. So what I need to do is frog this, get some cotton silk yarn, make a new swatch with a fabric that I like, and then go into the pattern and decide what size I'm going to make based on that. Like, I'm sad about frogging this because I want to make it, I want to make the garment, and I think it's beautiful. And I think the color is beautiful. But I just know after doing this much, like even if I stretch this here, like it just doesn't have much stretch to it, and it should have more stretch. Like crochet should be able to stretch this way. This is the way crochet stretches. And it has a lot of stretch this way, but it doesn't have enough stretch this way to get around me, and so it needs to be frogged. Makes me sad inside. Yes, it does. But it needs to be frogged. That's all there is to it. This bag I got from Target, again, years ago, and I think it was from the like dollar section. That is yet another project in the frog pond. Okay. Oh, this isn't even in a bag. This is the sock blanket that I dyed with my friend Maria, and it will be a pair of socks. That's not technically anything to frog. It's just something that I hand dyed myself with the help of my lovely friend who used to own a yarn company, and it will be a pair of socks once I'm allowed to knit socks again. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 more project bags, and I honestly don't know what's in any of them. Okay. This is gonna be a surprise for me and you. This is living in the Feminist Knit Club bag, which we need now more than ever. This is a bag that was made by Nerd Bird Makery, and I'm pretty sure she closed her shop or is closing her shop, which breaks my heart, but I'm just very delighted to have this bag because it's adorable and fabulous in every way. Oh, I know what's in here. Oh my gosh. This is another tick mark in the frog category. Because it already has been frogged multiple times. Okay, you have not seen this project for many moons. It's probably been at least 2 years since I worked on this. It is Ice Yarns. That's the yarn I'm using. It is the hand-dyed sock yarn, 75 wool, 25% nylon. I have 4 skeins of this color, which is like a cream with purples, pinks. It's overall kind of a lighter shade. This was going to be a design. I did multiple swatches. So this is a swatch that I did a while ago. This was a swatch I did a while ago. And I really wanted to do something with texture, but texture is hard on this yarn because of the way the purple variegation shows up. You just can't see the texture. Like you can see this a little bit. You can't see this texture at all. I have started and stopped and started and stopped. You see this is hand wound. That's because I once got through more than 50 grams of this ball of yarn before I frogged it. This is all that there is right now. And that's all there's been for probably 2 years. But the last time I touched this, I had frogged it again and started over. And I settled on something that I really liked, which was this. It's basically simple with little popcorn puffs at the end on one edge. But the idea that I had was going to be these were on the bottom and I was going to make an asymmetrical shawl, but I was putting them on the wrong side. So when you're making an asymmetrical shawl, the long side goes this way, which means these puffs need to be here. And I was so irritated with it at that point because at this point it had been frogged 4 times that I was like, okay, I'm just going to put this down for a while. I think I'm just going to frog this entirely. And I'm going to put the yarn maybe in my giveaway bin. Not because I don't like the yarn, I do like the yarn. But like, I have just tried so hard to make it into a design and it's just not cooperating with me. Maybe it would be better if this yarn could be used by a lovely person out there in the world. Oh, sad. Sad, sad, sad. Let's see. So yes, that will be frogged. The next thing I have, this is not technically a knitting or crochet project, and I think I will finish this at some point. I just don't have the arm ability to finish it right now. It's a punch needle kit. I picked this up at Aldi during Vlogmas. This is what it looks like. I am making the snowman currently, and this is how far I got on the snowman. Or actually, it's not a snowman, it's a polar bear. So you can see I've done his scarf, his face. This is supposed to be a present in blue, but I wanted to do it in red instead. And then I have to do him in white and then go around the whole entire thing in blue. It's supposed to be like an ornament. And then once you're done, you cover up the back, and this is what the back looks like. I'm always fascinated to know what the backs of things look like when people do things like this. I am quite sure I'm doing it wrong. I don't know. But it hasn't, I worked on it like literally one day during Vlogmas, and it has not been touched since. But it's not getting frogged. I'll finish that at some point. Next we have a Harris tweed bag with waxed canvas. This bag came from Faye, who used to have the Crochet Circle podcast, which was just a delight. Oh, there's nothing to frog in here. This is a project I was going to make and never started. So I don't even have the pattern in here. I was going to make the Darren tee, which I believe is a pattern by a knitting pattern for like a t-shirt kind of a thing by Jack Cieslak. I believe that's who it's by. And this yarn came from a lovely viewer of this podcast named Rochelle. It is Liberty wool, 100% washable wool, 50 grams, 200 yards. So that's a fingering weight. And it's the color 6615, but it's basically like an olivey, citrine type of green. And this color, I don't know why, because it's not what I would normally gravitate towards, but I feel like this color does magical things for me. Why? I don't know. I don't know. I wanted a t-shirt in this color. I still want a t-shirt in this color, truthfully. And there was plenty to make it. I think I'm just gonna leave this in here. Maybe I should print out the pattern at some time and put the pattern in there so that when I'm ready to start, I can. I don't know. I guess that's not getting frogged either. But there wasn't anything to frog to begin with, was there? Okay. Oh, there's something on the floor. It's a pin. It says, "You've got this." 2 more. 2 more. Oh, I can tell you both of these are not, they have not been started. So there's nothing to frog, but they're still projects because they're in project bags ready to go. This yarn I have had for a long time. I purchased this yarn at my local yarn store like literally years ago. Long time. It is from the fiber seed. And it's a big skein. So it's 90% merino, 10% nylon, 510 yards for 136 grams. The colorway is Interstellar. When did that movie come out? That's how long ago I purchased this yarn. Like, it has been a long time. And this was going to be like a hat wrap kind of a thing at one point, and that didn't work out. And then it was going to be something else, and that didn't work out. And so what I've decided that it's going to be actually is a Treasure Island shawl. So this is the Treasure Island shawl. It is a pattern, it's the first pattern I ever designed. It's designed for fingering weight yarn, and it's designed to use 1 skein. And it's one of my most worn pieces because it's just so light and so airy. But I really wanted one that's more of a darker color scheme. Yes. And so I finally decided this is what I was going to do with this yarn. I decided that before I knew that I was going to have to get elbow surgery. So I never actually started this, but I want to. The bag it's living in was made by my dear friend Claudia of Crochet Luna, who also designed the pin that I was going to put on the bag when I started this project. And of course, I haven't started the project. But I'm going to put this little "You've Got This" pin in there as well, because it's so precious. It's so cute. It's gonna happen. Someday it's gonna happen, right? Someone tell me yes. Okay. The last bag is the one I feel the guiltiest about. Okay, so let's get some reinforcing soda. Before Noah came along, so I have 2 kids. If you're new here, I have 2 kids. I have a 4-year-old daughter named Nova. I have a 16-month-old son, almost 17 months, named Noah. And in between Nova and Noah, I had an idea for a design. So I used to design a fair amount of crochet patterns. I have not published a design since I got pregnant with Noah. And it's like that part of my brain just is inaccessible. It's not that I can't do it, it's that I physically don't have enough time to sit down and write patterns because no one leaves me alone. And anytime that they're sleeping during nap time or even at night lately, like, I'm just working because I have a full-time job. So it's like that part of my brain is no longer available to me. And I love to watch the Knitting Expat, who is Mina from the UK. And she has 2 little girls, one of whom is named Layla, and her youngest daughter is named Nova. And I just see so many similarities between her daughter Nova and my daughter Nova. Like, she did Vlogmas this past year, and her Nova literally all the time was like, "Mama, mama, 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 mama." And I'm like, this is my life. Like, and so her Nova is 2, almost 3, something like that, maybe 2.5. And she just now is starting to publish patterns again, like this past probably 6 months. And I just feel that so much because, like, she was a prolific knit pattern designer. All the time she was designing things. And when you have little kids, it's like they just take over everything. And so I have not designed anything. I haven't written up the designs that have already been completed. Like, there are 2 project bags, maybe 3 project bags over there that I didn't bring to this video because they're not technically WIPS. Like, they are finished, finished samples of things. There's a shawl and 2 cowls. And on top of that, there's a cardigan that's in my drawer that I've been wearing that like the sample is done, but I cannot get to the pattern writing. And so it's not complete. So I guess technically it's a WIP, but not for like the purposes of this video. All that to say, before I got pregnant with Noah, I had an idea for a raglan style, a simple raglan style crochet cardigan with maybe some short rows incorporated for bust shaping, short rows on the back of the neck, but just like very simple, but like neon. And I had reached out to Malia, who is Malia Made It on Instagram, and she just dyes the most amazing neon colored yarn. And so I asked her if she would be willing to provide yarn support for this design. She said yes. She dyed me a bunch of yarn. I paid her, or she asked me just to pay for the cost of the yarn. I paid her like double that, maybe a little more, because I wanted to make sure she was compensated for her time, even though she was providing yarn support for this thing. And I'm so glad I did, because have I done anything with the yarn? No, because then I got pregnant. And I've done no designing since then. And that's why I say this is what I feel the guiltiest about, because it's living in this huge bag. And when I show you the yarn, you guys, is this not the best highlighter yellow you have ever seen in your life? That's her tag. Malia Made It. I have 8 skeins of this. 8, you guys. 8. And I haven't been able to design anything with it. So I guess this technically is not getting frogged either, but like, look at this amazing yarn. Just looking at it makes me want to be like, gosh, I have to make something out of this yarn. And so now I'm like, do I just make a cardigan? But like my original idea is still in there. Do I just wait for another year for Noah to get a little older and a little more manageable and then get to it? I did make some swatches. I actually made 3 swatches. I'd have to remake them because I'm sure wrote not enough notes to figure out where I'm at 2 years later. Like, there's one. Oh, it's so good. Here's another one. And here is one with short rows. So as you can see, like, that would be perfect for bust shaping. I'm disappointed in myself. Here's the start of another swatch that I don't remember what I was doing with. This yarn is 100% merino. It's just beautiful in every way. And when I tell you I would wear the heck out of this, like neon is my favorite. I have a hot pink cardigan that was just, it's actually a pattern by Mina, the mix and match cardigan from Knitting Expat. And gosh, I love it so much and I wear it to death. In fact, in case you couldn't see them earlier, I'm wearing hot pink pants. I love color, but it's just makes me sad. Like, it makes me really sad that I can't seem to get it together in the designing. There's 3 more bags over there and another one in my drawer. So, gosh, what's the count? We are up to 14, oh, that's too many. 14 projects that are not gonna get frogged, plus a punch needle. And then we have 4 projects that are definitely getting frogged, which is a shawl, a sweater, a hat, and another sweater. So 2 garments, a shawl, and a hat will be frogged. And there's still 14 other projects. Now again, some of these are just yarn, so they're not really anything yet, like the Darren tee and the bag I just showed you. So if we took those out, that would be 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that doesn't help that much, does it? That's still like 11 WIPs on the go. That's crazy. That's too many. And yet I can't clear any of them off because I'm about to get elbow surgery literally in less than 24 hours. They have not called me yet to tell me what time to be at the hospital. So this is me from the past talking to you. By the time you see this, I will have already had elbow surgery and be in a cast and all of that. If you want to know all about the drama of the elbow, you can go to my previous video on this channel, which is called I'm Done with Crochet, because I literally am not going to be able to crochet for at least 6 weeks, maybe longer. Just an update for those of you who care. Thank you so much for all your comments on things I could do with my left hand. There was a lot of comments like reading and writing patterns and doing puzzles. I love to read. I love to do puzzles. I want to write patterns. I probably won't be able to do any of those because my kids are going to be around constantly. And like, I don't have anywhere to put a puzzle that they will not destroy. I can't focus on a book when they're like doing all this stuff. And pattern writing's just not, I don't know, my brain's just not there right now. However, I love in like a year or two, maybe those things will come back around. Some of the suggestions I got though were loom knitting, weaving, diamond painting, cross stitch, embroidery. There was something, Bargello, I don't even know how to say it. I've never heard of it before. I had to look it up. It's some type of embroidery, which looks super cool. And like little loom kind of things, like to make little pot holder looms and things like that. So I went to Michael's, I got a few things. One of them was a weaving loom. It's like a square. It's like 20 inches by 20 inches. And I have already warped it so that because I felt like I needed 2 hands to do that. And I weaved like, is it weaved? Wove? I wove a couple of rows. I weaved a couple of rows. If you're like a grammar person, comment below and tell me which one of those is correct. I weaved a couple of rows using my left hand and I could do it. It was a little bit awkward, but I could do it. So I think I will be weaving for sure. I also, because Nova was with me, bought one of those little pot holder looms and I thought that would be super easy to do with one hand. No, the tension is much too tight. But we did make one of these together. So she strung all of the warp herself. And then I did the weaving part with the little crochet hook and she pulled it tight once it was going all the way through. And then I did the little crochet bind off. So she made herself a little mug rug. We made one little mistake right here. We skipped one of the loops, but who cares? I think it's adorable. I used to love making these as a kid, but this definitely not a one-hand craft. No way. So I will be weaving. I also ordered, I thought maybe I could do cross stitch. I've never done cross stitch. Have I ever done cross stitch? I don't think so. If I did, it was when I was a kid. I am fascinated by cross stitch, but it always seems like super tedious to me. So we're gonna find out just how tedious it is. The reason I ordered a cross stitch is because a couple of y'all commented to get like a cross stitch holder. And so you can get this thing that's on a peg that holds the little hoop for you. Like we pretend this is a cross stitch tube, it holds it like this. So I could just, if it's being held, I could do this with my left hand. And then I bought like a needle threader so it's easier to thread a needle and a little magnet to put on it so that like I'm trying to like set myself up to not move my arm because I'm not going to be able to anyways. And I ordered a little tiny cross stitch kit on Etsy. One of them is like they're probably this big. And so they're not much stitching at all. One of them is a little potion bottle with a skull in it. And the other one is a little black cross stitch with a few like nerdy symbols like potions and things like that. And what it says is live, love, loot the bodies. Which is exactly something that I would make because we're big nerds in this house and my husband plays video games. I love to watch him play video games. So if I can maybe do that and hang up a live, laugh, loot the bodies somewhere in our house, that will just make me happy until I die. So we've got weaving, we've got cross stitch that I'm going to try. I don't know how easy that's going to be with my left hand because I've never cross stitched before in my life. Maybe that will make it better. Who knows? The last thing I ordered, or not ordered, I picked it up at Michael's for literally a couple of dollars, was a two tiny diamond painting kits. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that with my left hand. I feel like it's feasible. We'll see. One of them is a little double-sided Hedwig owl from Harry Potter that makes like a keychain kind of a thing. It's probably like this big when you finish it. So it has a front and the back of the owl. And then the other one is a little ornament kit for 3 mushrooms. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I would love to do some puzzles. I just don't know that that's gonna be possible because I can't like complete a 500 piece in the hour I have between when the kids go to bed and when I go to bed, and I have nowhere in this house to leave a puzzle up that they will not just annihilate. Have kids, they said. It'll be fun, they said. So yes, that's where I'm at. I don't know how I feel about this surgery. Nova is just a ball of anxiety about it. She's like so worried that something's gonna happen. She's never gonna see me again. And I'm like, baby girl, you are 4. Like, you should not be this worried about everything, but she'll be fine. As soon as I'm home tomorrow, she'll be fine. She gets that way about hurricanes as well. When hurricanes are coming, she's a wreck the whole week before. And then once the hurricane is actually happening, she's like, oh, okay, this isn't that bad. So yeah, I mean, by the time you see this, I will already have had surgery way like a week and a half ago for you, but I could use your vibes, prayers, good thoughts for recovery. And I am planning to come back in another 2 weeks on this channel. I don't know what exactly I'm going to talk about with one arm, but probably one-armed crafting, and be able to show you. At that point, I will have had 3.5 weeks to work one-armed crafting. I don't know how much energy I'm going to have to craft for a bit after surgery. Depends on the medication they give me. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see. The doctor said, no, do not, absolutely no touching of the crochet hooks or knitting needles for at least 6 weeks. Breaks my heart. I don't know how to deal with that. Hopefully I'll deal with it doing diamond painting and weaving and cross stitch. I don't know, you guys. So yes, we have 4 definite frogs. We have some things that have not even been started, and we have some projects I need to get back to. Yeah. So there's 1, 2, 3. I'm not going to count my V-neck boxy, because that project, even though it hasn't had any love recently, like, it's just the best project ever. But it's got a long ways to go. There are 3 things down there that I could finish. That little bag, I could start my tank top. That's not going to be a huge project. And if I could get myself together to deal with the math on the short rows for that fade cardigan, the narrator, she did not get herself together. She never did, and she never will. So yes, I've been rambling for like nearly an hour now. So if you stuck this long, thank you for being here. You know, I appreciate you. I love you. Being able to talk to you for an hour gives sincerely calms my anxiety about having surgery tomorrow. I'm going to go and sign off here and put all of this away. And then I'm going to wake up that sleepy boy who didn't go to bed till 12:30 because we have to go get his sister from school in half an hour. So until I see you again, happy crafting, be kind to yourself, and I sincerely hope your elbow is doing better than mine. Bye, friends.